Hey, so I thought I would just jump on here and do a quick post about recent body transformation that I've just undergone on myself, and just talk a little bit about the methods that I've been using, and also some of the methods that I use with clients that I do body transformation and contest prep coaching with as well. So one of the things I wanted to go through to start with is these different diet zones as well. So basically I like to split it into a few different zones, whether I'm going to be in maintenance. And I think it's really important to track your calories and track your data for a while to really figure out this zone, because it's very, very important to know where your maintenance zone is. And then from there, I like to start off a diet by dropping it just slightly below this. And this zone here is kind of like what I would call like a sweet spot. So I'm basically in a deficit enough that I'm going to be getting reasonably good fat loss results, but I also have enough energy to fuel my training performance. And so it just feels pretty good. Like, I don't feel really super drained or anything. I don't even feel like I'm on a diet. I actually feel like energy optimized. And that's a really nice spot to be in, and that's where I like to keep people on a diet for the majority of prep. If they give themselves enough time, which I'm going to get to in a minute. Timing is so important with that. The next zone down, we have this this blue zone. I like to color code it so I can kind of see just with a glimpse on my data like where I'm at. And basically these really cold colors here is like what I would call like a hard deficit or an extremely low deficit. And it's almost like getting into kind of crash dieting zones where I wouldn't recommend staying here for very long periods of time. In fact, most people can't stay there for very long periods of time because you're not getting anywhere enough energy to fuel your body as an athlete. And so if you stay there too long, you're going to start wasting muscle mass, and you're just going to start feeling tired. You're going to have more negative metabolic adaptation, and just after a while, like, your body falls apart. An example would be, if you're on hardly any calories at all and you're doing 15-20,000 steps a day, it's kind of just like you don't want to be in that zone very, very long. It's almost like I like to compare bodybuilding to a marathon a lot, because it's very, very similar when you map it out like a macro perspective, in that if you start sprinting like halfway through, it's just not going to be a practical strategy. And so for the majority of dieting, I like to stay in these gradual caloric zones, but it gets hard toward the end when you're in single digit body fat and trying to push forward. It doesn't necessarily work to stay there. You have to go really, really low. And so sort of timing in and out of these different zones to give myself enough refeed days to maintain muscle mass, but still push lower in those zones. Okay, now getting into above the maintenance zones, we're going to look at the different types of surpluses. So a moderate surplus, this color in pink here, this is where I'd normally do like my refeed days. And it's like just slightly above maintenance. I'm going to be filling up quite slowly. I'm not really at any risk of gaining body fat when I'm here for only like a couple days at a time during a fat loss phase, assuming I've been adherent to my low calorie days and I'm actually quite depleted. This is just going to fill me back up with carbs. When I push into that next calorie zone that's a bit higher, that's going to be starting to get into the higher end zone. And then I have that top zone there where if I'm going above that, it's kind of like, all right, if I stay here for a while, I'm basically going to put on a lot of body fat very, very rapidly. And so I don't want to have too many days up in those zones there. And then you can see, if I just go across here, that I had a couple of those days recently where I've been making amazing progress. You can see week to week here, my averages are like in those blue colors and those purple colors, which means I'm likely going to be, definitely going to be losing body fat. And the body composition analysis has shown that. And basically over here, you can see there's a couple of 5,000 calorie days you see it will say, 20,000 or 21,000 kilojoules or whatever, but that's just because, like, when I was at uni and studying nutrition, we measured everything in kilojoules, and so it's just a different, I'm just so used to that. It's just like when I do my own diets and stuff like that, I just measure it in kilojoules, but then it's sort of like crisscrossing over and using calories as well. But anyway, yeah, I decided to have these refeed days, and I started refeeding on oats and rice and everything like that. When I was walking through the shops, they had these like Boucher chocolates, and I thought, oh, maybe I can definitely fit some of them in on a refeed day. So it's these beautiful like, they're like hazelnut and almond pralines. End up eating pretty much a whole box. And so I know that's one of the other reasons. It's like when I'm dieting down and I'm getting really serious in those lower body fat zones, I kind of like switched more so sort of clean eating sort of stuff, because it just takes away the temptation rather than trying to have this like, delicious decadent food and sort of have a little bit and then put it away and then think about food all day. It's just like the chicken and rice approach is just like, I just have it and then get back on the job and then keep going. It's simpler, it's easier, it's very, very easy to track, and it's just like in those lower zones where you have a lot less energy and a lot less mental energy, just like conserve decision making of what can I fit into my macros, and just stick to this very basic plan and keep going with it. So I like that as well. And so I have this as well. If I bring up this graph over here, you can see what's happening with my fat loss. And this fat loss phase over here, you can see on the graph, there's a lot of ups and downs and everything. But the general trend is moving downward very significantly. And this is something I really like to stress to people as well, is to not get too emotionally attached to any particular data point. Because, when you're collecting, I've been doing it so long that it's just numbers to me. I don't really get too emotional about anything. If it goes up, down, or whatever, it's just, there's no individual data point that really means anything to me. It's just a collection that determines the trend, and the trend is what is important. And so I'm looking at that, but I know that people do this when they're starting out, is that they'll diet for a week and they'll have a look and they'll see, oh no, my weight's gone up a day. Oh, now it's back down a day. Oh no, it's gone up again. They'll do their head in, looking for that instant gratification. Like, I ate really good for 2 days in a row. My weight must be going down next and all that. And it's just like, sometimes you have like these delayed results where you be, eating really good for a little while, and then almost nothing happens, and all of a sudden you see this plummet. So there's like a lag effect. Sometimes you can go up a little bit because of, inflammation or stress or something else is happening, or not enough sleep, or you ate dinner a little bit later than normal and so you're a kilo heavier in the morning. Those sorts of things can happen. And so I never really like to attach to one particular data point. I just like to see, okay, cool, this is the trend that's happening, and yeah, overall I think that's a pretty good trend, and I'm pretty happy with my results. I've been leaning up really, really well so far. And so I think one of the reasons that I tend to do pretty well, and one of my strengths with contest prep, is understanding exactly where I am in these different zones, what it feels like, how long I can hold it for, and how long it's going to take in which zone to get me where I'm going. And it's kind of just like something that comes with experience, and something that I see with, I think, a lot of competitors within their first couple of seasons can really miss time of prep. It's like when you're in those lower body fat zones, it can take a fair bit longer to get lean than you think it's going to, because the leaner you get, the more your results slow down with those diminishing returns. You get really, really drained. The end of season B at the moment, we've got IFBB Nationals happening tomorrow, and yeah, got some people coming in, see me for posing, and they're just absolutely drained these last couple of weeks. And that's what it's going to feel like in those really low body fat zones, and also in those very, very low calorie zones as well. And so very, very excited. Just thought I would jump on here, do a quick video, because I don't post a ton of this sort of stuff. I've been really focusing a lot more on the posing sort of stuff as well. But my background is actually in exercise physiology and nutrition. So this sort of stuff is kind of like my bread and butter. But you know, as an artist and as a creator and those sorts of things, I really enjoy doing that sort of stuff, and tends to be more popular with my audience. But if you like this sort of stuff, and you want to see more, then I'm happy to share more. Just leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.